Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher.
I'm DJ Wooldridge.
I'm back again with a headband because I don't want to do my hair. But thank you for joining us for another review of Doom Patrol. This is Season 2, Episode 8, Dad Patrol. And while usually we like to read a synopsis that we receive from DC or HBO, we do not have one because we're shooting this ahead of time. But quick rundown of the big plot points. We get Chief and Dorothy on a grand adventure where she has her first period and they go to a carnival, a super duper fun carnival. I mean, she's never been to Disneyland, so this
so she doesn't know any better.
Cloud Nine.
I will say that the what is it? The fun house she goes into did look actually legitimately pretty fun.
The one with the eyeballs everywhere, the
big
like clowns screaming.
There's
on
a
the
slide.
Screen.
I've never seen.
There is a slide.
Their slides are fun.
It's like a playground on the inside. They pull tricks. They try to get you. Everything's eye themed. It's a weird one. But we also get Cliff meeting his daughter at Doom Manor and catching her up on what he's been up to. And you realize the Steels are bad at communicating. We also have Cyborg and Rita teaming up to go after Ronnie. And we have Jane and Larry going on a trip to Jane's childhood home to learn more about both Miranda, where she came from, and also some more trauma that she endured at that house. It's bad.
Yes.
Bad news bears. And I did kind of want to start out with Jane's story because we mentioned in our last review, couldn't tell, obviously changed clothes. This is a totally different day when we're recording this. But when these past couple episodes has made it very clear who Jane is as a personality and why she's the primary. For me, obviously Miranda has it together more. Like she's able to deal with things. She wasn't affected by the scants in the last episode. But in this, it's just like she needs to feel needed because at one point she was. And I'm excited to learn like what made Miranda go away besides Miranda killing herself or whatever that means. Whatever
jumping down the well.
Dropping down the well. And then who Jane is. But them going back and you getting the flashbacks of Jane as a little girl and as like a teen and what happened with her. Like, obviously, we know like abuse happened. But this is just a like sexual abuse. I'm guessing that's what's led to. I was led to believe in the last season is what happened to her, as well as physical, and mental, and emotional. But in this, it's like this is emotional and mental and kind of physical abuse with dropping her down the well and letting her sit there. And now you know what the well means for Jane. And when she drops her toy, I was like, God. I know that feeling.
No.
I remember my toy that I used to carry around a lot, and I left it at, I don't know, like a truck stop. I don't know where it was, but I left it somewhere, and it's all my fault. But I know that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I like about this episode, and I wish kind of the episode had done it more, and I wish this season had done it more, is pairing off the characters in unique ways. I think a lot of this season has been pairing off our characters with other characters outside of the group, and I don't think that has been as productive as maybe the creators were hoping. But this moment where, Jane is decided that she's going to go find this toy to assert herself as the primary and not be basically routed by Miranda. And Cliff is busy with his daughter, and it's a sign of how these characters have grown, that she's able to read the room and not detonate that situation. And then she goes for Larry, and I was a little worried that she was going to see Larry was going through stuff and she was going to bail on that too. But I'm very thankful that those two got to be paired off because it's not something we've seen a lot, And
they did a really good job.
They did a really good job, and they brought out interesting things from the characters, and it's an interesting. It actually helps cement what Jane sees in Cliff, because Cliff is able to kind of like pull her out. They're able to pull each other out of their own funks. Larry is not really capable of that. Larry he's
just a pit. He's a pit.
Yeah, it just kind of spirals more a little bit, but they do benefit each other in trying to assert who they are. Because after Space Patrol, Negative Woman was kind of like, you need to just embrace the spirit and become a whole new thing. And he's kind of like, but I liked me and I like my family and I want to resolve that stuff. And so Jane is also trying to resolve her stuff as well. And so not only do we get that, but we get Vic and Rita, which seeing them interact more, it's like, oh, we could have done more with this. I hope we get more seasons just because their dynamic is interesting. We forgot to mention last episode ended with Rita in the Beekeeper costume, fending off a mugging. And now she's back in it. She wants to be the Beekeeper. And I like the scene where they go to the crime scene and the cops are like, oh, the Justice League's here now. And she's trying to like present herself as the Beekeeper. It's nice. It's endearing. I'd like to see more of that.
And speaking of that, I agree. But we also learned that we find some of the Uma jelly left over at the crime scene, correct? Because one of the examiners picks it up and Cyborg recognizes it and he leaves. And we're getting that whoever this person was that was killed had something to do with Ronnie's past in terms of her enhancements during her time in the military. And he ditches Rita.
Yeah.
He ditches Rita, which is a bummer. I always kind of feel like she's more fragile than other people, even though she asserts like control over certain things in her life. It's like, no, it's like leaving a kid in a park by itself. It's don't do that. Like, that's not fair. Like, you gotta bring her along.
Yeah.
She's like a senior citizen, basically. You gotta like make sure she doesn't get lost.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and he also
she doesn't even know what a computer is.
He also ditched Cliff to spend some time with Ronnie. So yeah, he's not thinking clearly, which, you know, people in relationships, we've all been there.
Kids.
And it looks like Ronnie used the Uma jelly to enhance her abilities because when Vic confronts her, she's able to go head to head with Vic pretty well.
Yeah, knock him on his ass.
Yeah.
But does not. That's a really sad moment for Rita, where she's able to figure out where they are and finds them and just stands there.
Yeah.
And Ronnie doesn't even care. It's not like even a threat to her. Like, Ronnie is doing bad things and maybe she is a bad person, you know, like, but like we've been seeing moments where she has been a good person, where she's done good things. So you want her to do the right thing, but she can't right now. And that's kind of, we talked about it in the last review, but she's kind of laid out very clearly, not excusing the bad behavior, but she's made it clear. She's like, I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
And I'm going to die.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen.
No.
So like whatever this behavior is, it's just like she doesn't care anymore. It's very nihilistic.
Yeah, it is. I will just, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but I will say it's a little weird to me that we've introduced two black women this season, because the end of this episode also ends with Karen just shoving, who's the good person out? Miranda shoving Jane down the well in the underground. And so it's like we've introduced two black women this season, and both of them end up being antagonists. So it's like, well, maybe we didn't think too far ahead on that one, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, maybe down the road how we resolve the Ronnie issue, because as we've talked about, that, you know, the last episode of the season, unfortunately had to be canned due to COVID. So it might not be this season that we get a resolution on the whole Ronnie situation, but I would like to see how it resolves.
Like a Titan season 2, where it's like, oh, we're about to get Trigon, and then we're not. We ran out of money.
Yeah,
not gonna do that.
Yep.
And then first episode of the next season, it's like you get him for a second.
Yeah. For
like 1 second. I can't believe we did that.
Yeah.
Forgot we even had Trigon on the show. Yes. But regardless, he's not coming on this show.
Nope.
Yeah, no, that is a fair observation when it comes to the two new women of color, black women on the show. Both end up being antagonists in some form or another, even though you're hinting to them being good people. But gotcha.
We tricked you. The other major storyline is Cliff and his daughter, and I've got to give props to Bethany Ann Lind, who plays Clara Steele, because she does such a great job evoking. We didn't get to see this when he saw it when he came to the house, but she does such a good job evoking Brendan Fraser's performance and his energy. Like when she gets angry about something, she just starts cursing, and it's like, oh, that's Cliff. And I thought that was a really smart way. A smart choice as an actress.
Kind of cool that he's able to cook, because he can't smell or feel the heat.
Yes.
So that's crazy that he actually was able to cook something. I mean, you can kind of do it based on sight, but his sight, we've kind of seen his point of view. It's not great. But he does. Oh, I apologize. I don't know if we even mentioned this after in Space Patrol when he brings the finger back, and Cliff and Chief is like, "Oh my God,
yeah.
Don't bring this." Even though it was an accident, like don't. This is not how it's going to work. And he cooked it.
Yeah. Yep. Whoopsie.
I thought he was having a nightmare.
Oopsie
and I was
poops.
like, nope. No, he really did accidentally cook the finger that he brought back.
And I like that
he ditched it.
He just ditches it in the trash and then gives it to her anyway because he doesn't want to ruin the moment with his daughter. I thought this was really sweet, and I thought it was cool that she was open to him. And I think the logic behind the way this world works is that the Doom Patrol is weird, but since we live in a world with the Justice League, it is not quite as weird as it would be in our world. If you and I ran into a robot person, our whole universe just turned upside down. In this world, Cyborg is a known hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though Cliff is genuinely weird, it's less of a leap. And so I like that. I like that, and I like their dynamic, and it's sweet. And she invites him to the wedding, and I was excited for Cliff to get the invite. He's excited. We're all excited, and we all know it's going to end badly.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
has to. It's too happy for him. And I did like the similarities when it came to talking about more difficult subjects. Both of them just stopped talking. You know, like it's not only like their history as a father-daughter in a father-daughter relationship, but like also the just like different parts of who steals are like that comes through. And I actually would like to see him at that wedding.
Yeah,
I would like him to have a healthy relationship with their kids, since we're getting these like tandem storylines between Larry's kids and Cliff's kid. And Larry's doing a bit of it's worse over there right now. But and I do like that. Just kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit. Cliff's story in this is really sweet, and even though he messes up sometimes, I like seeing him be caring, be a father, be excited to be a father, and her being willing to allow him back into her life. I like that. Like it's a lot of growth for both of them, and it makes me happy. And also a little bit of growth for Niles, like a little bit, because he sends that tape to her, and that's the reason why she came. Because I remember a couple episodes ago, Cliff was looking for that tape. Yeah, Niles wouldn't tell him where it was. It was like, Niles, now you're just being sneaky. Just like tell him what you did, and then move on. You know, like unless he was just trying to really do a big surprise. But it was a good moment for Niles. But we do have to remember he threw Cliff out of an airlock. Like 2 seconds, like literally a day ago.
Yeah, and I think with Niles, I think I think at this point, if you're planning on a surprise, you need no surprises for you. You have to clear everything with everybody before you do it, because you're kind of a nefarious son of a bee. But speaking of Niles. And again, going back to this idea that everything Niles does is a weird combination of altruistic and completely self-centered. He's given Dorothy this one day wherever she wants, but we know it's because he doesn't see her living past this day. He made a deal with Willoughby that he gets this one day, and we've settled that Dorothy's ability to end the world is kind of dependent on her growing up, and as a major rite of passage for most women, all women, is her period, and she has that at the gas station. And again, as we're talking about like the difference between like the sweet and the negative and stuff like that, it happens when this one family is kind of like freaked out by her appearance, but on the counterpoint, the gas station attendant is there to help her, is there to guide her. And also I think it's good that like this episode was directed by Amanda Rowe and written by Tom Farrell and April Fitzsimmons. And so I'm glad that if you're dealing with this a very personal feminine experience, and I'm glad that there was a woman behind the camera to kind of help navigate that story.
I agree with you. The only little bit of writing that I was just like, hey, this is just to promote the story, to keep the mystery, not have everything laid out on the table all at once. And it's definitely not like an Arrow or a Flash being like, I just learned something really important, I'm going to go out by myself. It's not some lazy stuff like that. Yeah. When the gas station attendant is giving all these like this really sweet advice about like, now you this is amazing what you're a part of now. Like it will be okay, and it's something really special. And I love the way that she talks about it. But when she tells her like, should I talk to my dad about it? It's like, nah. But he's not gonna get it. He's a guy, which I get, I understand. But like, maybe talk to your dad. It's like she doesn't know more.
She doesn't know that this is possibly world ending. Yeah.
Like she doesn't know. But also that was a great scene, and I thought Abigail Shapiro as Dorothy did an amazing job, and she has actually all season. I thought she's done a really good job, not only having to portray this really weird character, but as a young girl, but also portraying it through the fake teeth and the face
all
makeup.
all that makeup,
so much.
Yeah, and she does such a good job of projecting through that. And I will say, devil's advocate, I agree with you, but devil's advocate for her not saying, I think that story paired with Jane's story, for me, it's like, I mean, who knows what this lady's experience was with her dad? Like, she might not have had you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
I think that's where my brain went, which justified it more. But you're right, it was 100% be like, if Niles knows, this is a whole different ballgame. You know what I mean? Like, we can't. The whole episode would play out differently.
Yeah, you don't know her relationship. I would just be like, if I saw again, and I'm a guy, so like, I have to know that with that, that's my perspective on it, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily correct. But it was just like, if I saw a single parent out there, I'd be like, hey, just so you know, like, your kid's gonna come out with different clothes on.
Yeah, like, exactly. That's the big one, and that was the big one that Niles just brushes past that. Like, all right, I guess new clothes. You know what? Stranger things have happened. All right.
Yeah, but regardless, like it was a very sweet scene, and I that's not only like, there's so many strengths to the show, from the performances to the writing to the visuals, but like these little character moments with somebody we're never going to see again. Like, it was just a really sweet scene, and this actress did an amazing job as this female voice that Dorothy could turn to, that actually cared about her a little bit. Like, Jane doesn't care. Baby doll was some different situation, then tried to cook her. Yeah, Rita's had nothing to do with her whatsoever, and her mom is her mom. Don't know where she's at right now.
We know she starts showing appearing. Up in she starts showing up in visions, and she starts offering Dorothy these red shoes, which is a nice nod to, Dorothy Spinner's name is a play on Dorothy Gale. In the comics, she's often portrayed in a costume associated with Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, the red slippers. It's all there, and once that and I think Willoughby starts showing up again, because his boss, the guinea pig or whatever it is,
bunny,
little bunny explains that it's world is ending, whatever, they don't really have a day. So Niles is able to hold him off, but Niles is starting to get sick, so apparently his well-being is directly tied to Dorothy's ascension or whatever it is. And by the end of the episode, it looks like Candlemaker is off the chain.
Yeah, he's out. And it's always impressive visually seeing him. Every time he pops out, he's super scary. And Bad News Bears, I think they look like they're having a genuinely great time at the festival. They're having candy, they're having popcorn, got a balloon, having a great time. But we didn't even mention this. When he gets the call from Willoughby, it's via the Reese's peanut butter cups. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool. Yeah. I thought that was like, also, I know like Niles in the comics always has like a sweet tooth. It's like always like ice cream or candy or something like that. Yeah. I like those little elements hidden in there. Same. Why is it a peanut butter cup? He's been carrying that since the space trip. So, but hey, that doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm not going to get hung up on that. I just like the visual. And clock's ticking. Things are getting bad really, really fast for all the patrons at this carnival. Yeah. And for Dorothy and for the chief. And hopefully, I don't know, in this last episode, it's probably not going to end well. Like it was like we said, there was supposed to be another episode. Sometimes the overall story's finished by, second to last episode, then the last episode sets up future stuff or kind of does like the final wrapping up, but who knows? Yep. Who knows how it's gonna end up. But this was a super solid episode, and I kind of hope this doesn't mean we're getting to the end of Dorothy's character. Like, I would like her to kind of be in like future seasons too, because I like her dynamic, and I don't know if we've even fully explored it for like her and Larry. Like Larry's got like this trying to deal with what has happened with his kids, but what does that mean against Chief and his daughter? But we haven't really seen Rita interacting with Dorothy. Like I kind of like to see that. Vic and Dorothy kind of interacted. Besides, I mean, I guess we saw Vic staring at Dorothy when she was about to kill Danny. You remember he was like, what? And then nothing happened. So like, I don't want her to go away necessarily, but she is doing a really good job. And also like props to Abigail, because like she's really holding her own against Timothy Dalton. Yeah. And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the kind of performance that she's brought to the show, and the writing. This helps support that performance.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you rate this episode?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. Really liked it. Yeah. I liked it more than last week's. And as it's kind of like winding up, and it's obviously going to be really good for everybody in the next episode.
Mm-hmm. Everything's going to work out great, no question.
Cliff's going to go to the wedding. Yep. Larry's going to reunite with his son, and they're going to fix everything.
Candlemaker's going to be like, you know what? Maybe not. And just go back to wherever he was.
Mm-hmm. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I would give this episode an 8.5. I also enjoyed it more than last week's episode. I'm excited to discuss the finale.
Mm-hmm. I am too. So please let us know your theories in the comments down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.